these teams is. Usually it's depending on if East Peoria is more competitive, but no matter how good either of these teams is, it always seems like they play a close battle. I believe you guys did a matchup a couple of years ago when you first started out with Clutch Sports Media game here, and I think it was a close one if I recall correctly, but these two teams, it's a rivalry. There's a lot of spirit in this game, and they want to play competitive, especially for East Peoria on the home floor.
Metamora won that game 2 years ago. That was a game I think we saw a strong performance from Landon Ivins, if memory serves correctly. Metamora fans will remember that name well. This Metamora team, headlined by a new cast of characters. Ethan Kaiser was just a freshman on that team. Now he's a junior for the Redbirds, Gavin, and he can soar. Not a player you want to see get loose. But this team a lot deeper than just Ethan Kaiser, who gets a lot of the headlines. Zach Schroeder had 22.6 rebounds, and that went on Friday.
Well, Ethan Kaiser's, an incredible talent. He can jump out of the gym, he can put on a show. But I think as the season's gone along, it's become more and more evident how deep this team is, how many different players they can utilize on a nightly basis that can really fill up the score sheet. I mean, Schroeder, you think about Luke DeFrance on certain nights, and Tyson Swanson. There's so many guys that you can think about for Metamora. Just a very, very deep program.
And they have soared to an 18-6 record here as we begin to circle the regional dates of the IHSA playoffs on our calendars. 8-1 in the Mid-Illini Conference are the Redbirds. And then the East Peoria Raiders, maybe you could call them the upstart Raiders, enjoying a nice 12-9 campaign, just 2-6 in the Mid-Illini Conference. But Gavin, it seems like every time they come out, they play close. That was evidenced on Friday. Nas Jackson, a guy we'll watch on this East Peoria team, high-flying freshman. Austin Jones and Nick Tornow both had 11 points on Friday. And then you can't forget about Jack DuBois, who had 12 points to lead the team on Friday.
Yes, Jack DuBois had a big 12 points on that Friday. But again, they've got guys that can fill up the score sheet. Only 3 seniors on this team, so they've got a lot of young guys. They're just in the developing stages. They've been in a lot of close battles. It's a matter, can they finish? And we'll see if they can stay in a close battle and try to finish tonight.
A good test for them at home on a chilly and snowy Tuesday evening. Glad you're with us on ClutchSportsIL.com. And Metamora, by the way, also snuck in a win against Manual between the last time these two teams played, which is on Friday. On Saturday, they scored a 12-point win, 60-48 over the Manual Rams. We'll take a quick break for the national anthem, come back with the starting lineups and everything you need ahead of this high-powered Mid-Illini Conference battle. Stay with us. You're watching ClutchSportsIL.com. Live from East Peoria Community High School, it is Mid-Illini Conference basketball on ClutchSportsIL.com. The Metamora Redbirds and the East Peoria Raiders about ready to go at it. The Redbirds 18-6, the Raiders 12-9, looking to defend their home court tonight. Joey right alongside Gavin Russell. And Gavin, let's get straight into our keys to the game tonight. This is what we're looking for, and let's start with Metamora. Live by the three and start quickly. They didn't start quickly the other night.
Well, yeah, they can live by the three. They've got a lot of guys that can shoot it, so if they can do that well, that's going to give them a big boost in this game. And as you look for the Raiders, they need to, play in transition very quickly. Again, they've got a lot of athletic players on this Metamora team, including Ethan Kaiser. So you need to, be quick in transition and defend the perimeter, kind of go against that three-point range for the Redbirds and kind of slow them down there, see if both these teams can live up to the keys of the game.
And we'll see. Those are going to be interesting to watch tonight. And what really gets me when we look at our keys to the game, Gavin, is that transition game for East Peoria. Because this Metamora team, interesting in transition. And they've got guys who can get out and run it. You look at Kaiser. But you go back to Metamora's game against Washington a few weeks ago. It was Jamari White, I believe, had that big block in transition. Kind of Washington moved a little quicker, it seemed, that night than Metamora did. And White had a big block that kind of changed the complexion of that game. Washington was able to win at 43-39.
Well, sure thing. And, East Peoria, I think something that many people aren't going to know about them is a lot of their young kind of upstart guys that they're starting to get more experience do fit that athletic role that can move up and down the court very quickly. And they've got a big senior, Austin Jones, kind of fit that role as well. So they're trying to put a little more pep in their step, if you want to say, and kind of change up their game plan a little bit this year, just to try to kind of, boost their team up a little bit. But it's definitely going to need to be present tonight to stop the Redbirds.
Redbirds, a team not unbeatable, but a very good team, and they're being introduced right now. And their starting lineup is as follows. It'll be the senior guard, Luke DeFrance, leading things off, and he's followed in the lineup by Ethan Kaiser, Tyson Swanson, Drew Tucker, and Jake Nealon. That's the starting five for Metamora. Metamora may be the best three-point shooting team in the Mid-Illini Conference. Would you say that's a fair comp?
Boy, there are a lot of good three-point shooters in the Mid-Illini Conference, but I'd have to agree with you just because they have such a good volume of three-point shooters. There's a lot of standout individuals, but as a team, they really do excel.
And the East Peoria Raiders being introduced right now. See if they can shut down that perimeter game tonight and see where they can excel in their own right. Their starting lineup. Go ahead, Gavin.
I was going to point out with their starting lineup as you were about to get to it. It looks like they have a few players that are not named Nick Tornow and Austin Jones. But I've seen this a few times this year. He likes to start a presence. It's a game plan thing. So as you'll hear a few different names, it's more of a game plan thing to start the game.
Well, and that's key, right? When you can bring your stars off the bench, give yourself a little spark after things get going. Things are going now, and we're underway. Metamora, 6 seconds into the game, takes the first lead. That's Drew Tucker. To settle in.
Not how you want to start the game, kind of a errant jump ball that went Metamora's way.
We'll see what East Peoria can do to respond. Raiders' first possession. It's in the hands right now of Cameron Mabels. Guarded by Kaiser. Kicks it back up top to A.J. Reinders. He's guarded by Drew Tucker and in trouble. Shades it over back to Mabels. And that's going to be a fun matchup to watch here in the early stages, Mabels and Kaiser. Now the Raiders swing it around. It's Reinders again. It's in the hands of Jack DuBois, 12 points on Friday. Can't find his first two tonight. Nealon brings in the rebound.
Good patient possession, though. Got to get good shots.
If you're just joining us in the last couple seconds or so, Metamora 1 for 1 tonight, scored on its opening possession in just about 5 seconds. Here's a turnover. Sol Chown drives and gets fouled. And the first foul of the game assessed to Tyson Swanson and Metamora.
That's the thing. If you really haven't seen East Peoria, which, again, they're kind of on the uptrend. Many people probably don't know a lot about them. They're starting to infuse this program with more guys who are more athletic. They can get and run the floor. Chown is definitely one of those players.
And he knocks in his first free throw. Second on the way from Chown. Got it to go. Tied up at 2. New ball game. Again, these two teams played a good one on Friday in Metamora. Redbirds won it 55-54. Did not lead until the last 4 minutes of the game. It was neck and neck, but the Raiders couldn't get over the hump until late, and once they had that lead, they were able to hold it. East Peoria had a chance to win it on the game's last possession. Metamora came away with a big stop. Danny Greaves, Metamora's head coach, very confident entering this game. Talked to him the other day, and he highlighted the team's need to get out to a quick start. Chown for East Peoria. Kicks it down low to Jack Knapp. Kicked out to Chown. Off on the jumper. Redbirds bring it ahead. Kick out to Tucker. Tucker drives and can't quite find the basket there. He's fouled. First free throw is coming up for Metamora.
You know, kind of the interesting thing is, like, why would you not put your best players to start the game? Well, obviously East Peoria is not the deepest team, especially compared to a team like Metamora, so maybe you want to keep your guys out of foul trouble early, kind of start to establish your game with maybe some of your reserve players actually getting to start. Maybe a little idea behind that, more speculation than anything, but definitely want to keep your best players out of foul trouble.
Not a bad theory. Austin Jones and Nick Tornow not in the starting lineup tonight, but as we mentioned earlier, combined for 22 points, 11 each on Friday. And Gavin, tell us a little bit about the East Peoria coaching staff. They've got some star power up and down that coaching staff.
Well, you know, Coach Gerznich, as we offensive foul here on Cam Mabels, but Coach Gerznich has been here for a few years. He got them kind of out of the cellar. They were a team that was winning single-digit games for several years. He was a former college coach at Spoon River College, a junior college, I believe. But most notably, DJ Richardson, former Illinois Fighting Illini player. He's played professionally, joining as an assistant coach, so definitely bringing a good coaching boost to this team.
John Gerznich has done a tremendous job at East Peoria. Raiders have already moved past the single-digit win mark this season. Trailing by 2 are the Raiders now. Here's Cameron Mabels, the junior. Got it down low to Jack Du Bois, and he was looking for Jack Knapp, but a foul called.
Something interesting, Jack Du Bois, his father actually played at Metamora many, many years ago, but something interesting there is a little bit of a rivalry. I'm sure his dad, though, will be probably rooting for East Peoria tonight.
I would think. I think the Raiders have the support of Mr. Du Bois tonight. And a strong Mid-Illini Conference presence here tonight from Metamora, of course, East Peoria. You'd figure it's a home game for them, but the Washington Panthers have brought a little contingent here to scout. They are off just to our right. Head coach Eric Schermerhorn, a couple of assistants, and I believe I see Drew Lewis and a couple of his teammates down there. They just beat Limestone last night and have tonight off.
Trip down Washington Street to see a game we hope is going to be pretty close. Get a little scouting done.
2 on the way, didn't go from Nick Tornow, who is into the game. Panthers won handily against East Peoria a few weeks ago and beat Metamora in a game we alluded to. And they'll play Metamora later on this season at Metamora. Always fun when those two squads get together. Driving and drawing the foul is Jake Nealon. East Peoria crowd doesn't much care for that. Good showing from the students at East Peoria here tonight, though, Gavin. They've braved the weather, and it's a pretty good student section.
Yeah, they know on a big game when they see it, and, of course, you know, a lot of heated battles between any of these Mid-Illini Conference teams, so makes these games a little more special.
First free throw falls from Nealon. He's on the scoreboard tonight. Down low to rebound for East Peoria. Nick Tornow and Jack Knapp. Nealon's second, up and good.
Free throw shooting is very essential. We've seen many, many games this year, Joey, where, you know, free throw shooting has come to be a big factor. So make the early ones really helps you out.
You never know if they can make the difference late. Here's Chown for East Peoria, off balance, and he drew contact. And Gavin, in the early stages, it's been Sol Chown, the guy for East Peoria. They're running a lot of offense through number 3.
Yeah, Sol has come out, you know, had a nice presence early on. He's trying to get some shots up. I believe he's taking a three-pointer. So play aggressive, you know, try to take it right to him.
His first free throw falls. He's done a good job of getting to the line thus far in this one. East Peoria bringing in the freshman Nas Jackson, who we mentioned earlier. He'll come in relief of Jack Du Bois. And the second in and out for Chown.
See if Metamora pushes the pace. They're a team that can really vary their pace. They can get into a slow set offense, but they also move very quickly, makes them so dangerous.
And Kaiser will attack. Kaiser one step in from the free throw line, lost it. And East Peoria could tie it up with a 3 here. Trying to do just that was Mabels, a little off. Kaiser the rebound, and here's that transition game for Metamora. Getting all the way to the basket and drawing the foul on the shot is Tucker.
Really nice take, just take it right to him. You had the numbers coming back, but definitely a lot of fouls early on. 7 combined both ways, and we're not even halfway through the first period. A lot of things going down in the middle and at the charity stripe.
And Tucker converts the and one. Do want to point out that Kaiser Quick came in a moment ago for Metamora. And this East Peoria offense, Gavin, moving a little too quick it looks like here.
They're really trying to, I think, exploit this, full court press by Metamora. They're trying to get a quick bucket, kind of take advantage of their aggressiveness, but I think at this point they need to just take care of the ball a little better.
Turnovers and miscues adding up for the Raiders. Almost another one there. Mabels is able to come out of there with it. And he'll slow things down. He'll shade it over to Nas Jackson, guarded by Tucker. Jackson drives and draws a foul. And that ought to be on the floor on Tucker. Metamora with 4 fouls now, ties the Raiders' output. See who enters foul trouble first. That's Tucker's first foul, so he's not there yet. And it takes us to our first masked timeout of the contest. 9-3 Metamora, just north of 4 minutes gone by.
Yeah, tough start for the Raiders, but, the foul situation has definitely been interesting. Of course, you see a lot of times Mid-Illini games, they let them play a little bit more. They get away with some of that physicality. Not so much in this game. Maybe they're trying to contain it. Maybe, I didn't personally watch the game on Friday, but maybe there was some, a little bit of friskiness going on over there. So maybe trying to contain it a little bit early on with a lot of quick calls.
When you come off a close game, and these two teams played just that the other night, there are always some leftover emotions there. It's tough to get back into the swing of things sometimes because, the last time you're on the floor against Metamora, if you're East Peoria, was in a high-pressure situation. Now you've got to come out and kind of recreate that energy a little bit.
You do, and something I've noticed with East Peoria, again, I've seen both of these teams play a handful of times this year. They've played teams well when they play them multiple times, so in the Mid-Illini matchups, the first time they come out and play them, they kind of surprise them. They play in a lot more close games in the first matchup than they have in the second matchup, so we'll see kind of a young team, maybe emotions get the best of them a little bit. Just got to kind of rein it in a little bit. Again, there's a lot of young players, but you got to just try to rein it in and just play solid winning basketball.
See if the Raiders can get back to that here. Redbirds looking good in the early stages. 9-3 our score. Raiders have a chance, though, out of the inbound, out of the masked timeout to try and get something going. Here's Mabels. I believe all 3 of East Peoria's points thus far have come at the charity stripe. And a travel. That'll give the ball back to Metamora. And John, or not John, rather, I was thinking of the East Peoria coaching staff, I think, or maybe John Camosa, who also helps us out with ClutchSportsIL.com. Gavin, East Peoria has not played poorly. You don't want to be overly critical, just some things to clean up in the early stages, because if you make those mistakes, it opens things up for the likes of Drew Tucker.
Well, the Metamora is just really doing a nice job being aggressive in this game. They don't want to make this a close game. They want to try to take control of it early on, and doing a good job so far.
Mabels with the give to Knapp. Kaiser gets in and makes life difficult for the Raiders. Jackson recovers, and Jackson will drive. Couldn't get the balance down, and Kaiser brings in the rebound. But his pass is intercepted by Austin Jones.
A little bit of sloppy play for the Raiders. They're trying to take it inside, but you got to get quality looks.
Jackson goes over to Jones, and that last turnover notwithstanding, Gavin, Ethan Kaiser's looked good for Metamora. He seems to be putting himself in the right place more often than not. Kept alive by Austin Jones. Jones will pull up a difficult 2, and that might be the best shot we've seen tonight.
That was a really tough shot, and that's one thing that, having a senior leader like that can do. Jones is pretty consistent from the mid-range.
Jones with a big 2 points there. Just like that, it's back to a 2-possession game. See if East Peoria can keep that momentum going on the defensive side of the ball. Knapp guarding Kaiser. Kaiser gives behind him. Devin Dunn off on the three. First time we've called Dunn's name tonight. And the Raiders will push ahead with Cameron Mabels. Drive from Jones gets blocked by Kaiser. And Kaiser's able to find Zach Schroeder. Schroeder with 22 and 6 the other night. Good defense from Jones and Knapp on the defensive side of the ball for EP. 23 on 23 now as Dunn guards Mabels. Now it's Tornow. Out to Jones. Jones with the give to Tornow. Steps back, doesn't have it. Loose, and the rebound brought in by Dunn.
Kind of letting them play it a little more. There's been some bodies hitting the deck. No calls, so more Mid-Illini basketball-like recently.
Longest uninterrupted stretch we've seen tonight comes to an end just as I start that sentence. Go figure. And it will stop play with 1:14 left in the first quarter.
I think so far, what I've observed, Metamora has done a nice job taking it right into the paint. That's really where they've gotten all their points, that or the free throw line. East Peoria hasn't done a bad job defensively, but their offense has been kind of stagnant so far, so look for a good possession to kind of close out this quarter.
The Raiders could make it a one-score game with a three. Jones trying to do just that, in and out, and the rebound brought in by Quick, and a foul called. 5th of the game against East Peoria, and the first on Brody Wendell, who came into the game with the last dead ball.
Not hearing the horn, or maybe can't hear it through the headset, but.
Yeah, I didn't hear a horn for Wendell either, but he is in for East Peoria. Tucker kicks it out to Dunn, and another foul called there on East Peoria, so Metamora now just one shy of the bonus. And there's a horn for Mabels, who comes back in for Jackson.
Yeah, tough call. Again, Nas Jackson, just a freshman, has a lot of emerging talent, but makes those rookie mistakes, if you want to say. Just a young guy learning the game of basketball at the varsity level.
It's a tough adjustment, especially in this conference. Nothing for Kaiser down low, tapped out of bounds, and East Peoria will get it back. 2 points, Gavin. East Peoria, and you mentioned this just from the jump, they have really been a lot more active with rotating guys in from the bench. And we'll get to the second point in a minute. It was going to be, will they be able to hold for the last shot, but they'll have to play defense first. Blocking foul and the basket for Tucker. That's going to be his second and one if he gets the free throw to fall.
Man, things go from bad to worse right there. I mean, I know you're trying to move up the ball, move the ball up quickly, but I would have definitely said hold for the last shot because you've gotten some stops. Try to get a good offensive possession, but again, going the other way there, not exactly what you're looking to finish out the quarter with.
Free throw falls for Tucker. They've yet to update the scoreboard, and they will get to that now. It should be 14-5, and it will be. And a hand check foul called there on Devin Dunn, but that brings the question back into play, Gavin. Does East Peoria hold for the final shot here? Most
certainly now. I think they could have held the ball for 30 seconds. Certainly they can for 19.1, and bigger thing I'm looking at, though, right now is not even done with one quarter and 7 fouls on East Peoria, 5 fouls on Metamora, so we're going to see a lot of free throws in this first half if this continues that way.
And we'll see how that impacts the later stages of the second half, if that brings strategy into play. 10 seconds left. Jack Du Bois has it for East Peoria. Goes over to Austin Jones, who will step back. A three that didn't fall. Rebound brought in. Fed ahead to Tyler Swanson. And he just didn't have enough time. That's how the first quarter will end. 14-5 Metamora after one. Couple thoughts from that first quarter that we'll get to in just a moment. But first, we'll take a quick break for a word from Uftring.
Upgrade to four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive during Uftring's Traction for All sales event. With new SUVs and trucks in stock and inbound, plus fresh trades and pre-owned for every budget. Reduce the slide in your ride during the Traction for All sales event at every Uftring Auto Group dealer.
Welcome back to East Peoria. We're at East Peoria Community High School tonight. where the Metamora Redbirds are leading the East Peoria Raiders 14-5 after one quarter of play. Joey Wright alongside Gavin Russell and the rest of our team, Jonathan Michael, Rodrigo Perez, and Larry Larson. Gavin, your takeaways from a first quarter that saw East Peoria make some nice plays, but also leave a lot on the table that Metamora was able to take advantage of.
You know, despite the score, I think both teams did a fair job defensively. I think they made some nice plays on that end of the floor. I think Metamora just did a better job capitalizing on some of those opportunities, and they got some more opportunities at the free throw line, and East Peoria just made a few more mistakes that, again, a really good team like Metamora is going to take advantage of. I could see kind of the frustration from the East Peoria coaching staff. Not how they wanted to start the game, but again, there's 3 quarters left. It's certainly a game of runs, and a couple baskets, you're right back into this game.
And the emerging storyline thus far is the foul situation. No one is in imminent danger, but as Ethan Kaiser knocks in a 3, Metamora does have 5 fouls to its name already. East Peoria has 7. And that's where the East Peoria rotation kind of comes into play, Gavin, because East Peoria seems like every dead ball bringing someone in or someone out, or 2 guys in, 2 guys out. They're really working the entirety of that 13-man roster tonight.
Well, they're trying to keep go up and get the foul there, but, you know, they're trying to keep guys out of foul trouble, but they're also trying to find the rotation that works, because thus far they've had a couple of self-starters, Sol Chown and Austin Jones, kind of come in and make a difference, but up to this point they haven't really had all 5 guys working well together, so kind of find that rotation that works well against the Redbirds.
As we were breaking that down, Brody Wendell did a nice job of getting to the free throw line, knocks in his first free throw. John Gersnich, the head coach of the East Peoria Raiders. Mark Lowe and former Illinois Fighting Illini DJ Richardson, his assistant coaches. Danny Greaves, longtime head coach of the Metamora Redbirds. And this is when Metamora always seems to start playing its best basketball, is February and March. Tucker for the Redbirds. Driving, kicking, down low is Kaiser Quick, and the Raiders force a stop. Raiders down by 10. It's Metamora's largest lead of the evening. Or pardon me, second largest, as Kaiser opened the corner with a 3. A travel there.
Some of those unforced errors, and again, that's what you get with a young team. You know, I think that's going to be something we're talking about all night, is those unforced errors really coming into play. You know, otherwise they haven't done too bad of a job, but giving the ball back too quickly to Metamora and not even getting a shot up.
We'll see if Metamora with a 3 could take its largest lead tonight. Down low, nice defensive effort from Sol Chown. He'll get called for the foul. And Gavin, to my eye, looked like he had the block, but then just kind of got tangled up, and that foul might have come in after he blocked that. Now,
I think
I don't know, but
yeah, the argument over there is he took, you know, too many steps. I think they might have thought he had a travel, but may have gotten bumped first. Either way, you got to live with it. He's going to the charity stripe. Not exactly pleased, but again, I got to move on. There's no reviews or challenges at the high school level, so it's called as it stands.
And Schroeder knocked in the first, got the second. And if you put Zach Schroeder at the free throw line, that is a result you'll see quite frequently. 2 free throws made from Schroeder.
To my count, I think Metamora's got about 6 free throws, and I think they've made them all up to this point, so not leaving any points up.
Free throw falls from Jack Du Bois. Du Bois with 12 points on Friday, off to a good start tonight. And Gavin, to that point, I don't know if we've seen a missed free throw from either side. East Peoria has a good chunk of its 9 points at the charity stripe, and if they've missed one, it must have slipped my mind.
I think they did miss one.
Okay. Sol Chown doing a nice job of getting to the line. He's been there, I think, more than any other East Peoria player. And official updated stats coming as we come out of the halftime break. A.J. Reinders driving. Deep 2 from the corner, and it falls. And East Peoria heating up. Nick Tornow.
They've got a few guys on East Peoria that live in the mid-range. You know, they don't have a lot of amazing three-point shooters, but take a few steps inside around the free throw line. They're going to make that every single time if you give it to them.
And Gavin, this is where we could see maybe a role reversal from Friday. It was East Peoria that led for almost the entirety of that one. Metamora with a comeback winner. They didn't have to come back from very far, but they did take their first lead of the game in the last 4 minutes of the game. East Peoria was down by as many as 12 points, fighting and clawing their way back. This is a big possession.
Certainly is. Continue to close the deficit a little farther and keep that momentum on your side.
Nearly a turnover instead of foul, and I believe they'll whistle that on Kaiser. And it will be a foul assessed to Ethan Kaiser, his first, team 7th. And both teams in the 1-and-1 bonus. Still 5:12 left to play in the second quarter.
And that's a guy you don't want in foul trouble, so just one foul on Kaiser, but keep your eye on it. You know, you don't want him to pick up too many more. Got to keep him in the game.
First leg of the 1-and-1, rims out from Tornow. And the Redbirds start things up again. Here's Tyler Mason. Mason making his return to the Redbirds lineup tonight. Suffered an injury against Pekin a few weeks ago. Missed about 6 weeks. Big presence on the floor, and the Redbirds build their lead back to 10.
Well, he's certainly doesn't look like he's been out for several weeks. Coming back with a nice, strong showing in some early minutes.
Driving is Mabels, and he lays it in. And for the first time, I think, so far tonight, Gavin, you could say that both teams are trading baskets. Both teams in a nice rhythm right now.
Starting to play a little more evenly, which is all right with Metamora. Of course, you want to extend your lead, but East Peoria's got to find a way to kind of knife into it a little bit more before halftime.
Kaiser with a nice pass to an open Jake Nealon. He goes down to the corner and Drew Tucker. And now Kaiser swings it over to Mason, and Mason goes to Schroeder. Schroeder with an open lane, gets blocked. Good defensive effort from Nick Tornow. Tornow shovels ahead to Reinders. He gets blocked. Kaiser keeps it in, and luckily for Kaiser, Zach Schroeder was right there.
What a wild sequence.
Crazy couple seconds, nearly capped off with a three from Metamora, kept in. And Mabels is in the right place at the right time for the Raiders.
The ball is flying everywhere. I thought we had a little more consistency going in this game, but next thing you know, up and down the court very quickly.
Floater didn't fall. Loose ball. Schroeder brings in the rebound. And Gavin, I think we're seeing some consistency. It's consistently pretty crazy. Tapped out of bounds. It'll stay with Metamora.
Well, out of all of that, you know, they're only down. East Peoria's only down 8. I mean, you know, that could have gone a lot of different ways. There could have been some buckets. Really crazy, though.
21-13 Metamora, but a good one in the early stages. East Peoria starting to find its rhythm. We'll take a quick break and come back after this message from Uftring.
It's Uftring's Traction for All sales event with the 4-wheel and all-wheel drive trucks and SUVs you need for winter driving. Interest rates are at record lows and trade values are at historic highs. Plus, changes to the trade tax law means you'll get your full tax credit at every Uftring Auto Group dealer.
There's a great look at the East Peoria huddle. We are at the second masked timeout of the game. The masked stoppage in the second quarter, 3:29 until halftime. And those East Peoria Raiders that you see down 8 points. And Gavin, the last few minutes, call it the last 2 minutes of this game, have been like the 10 minutes that preceded it. Just a lot of wacky play, a lot of sloppy play on both sides. It's been entertaining to watch.
Well, I think both teams are coming out to want to find that presence. I think Metamora did a good job early on, but I think because of, you know, wanting to set that presence, wanting to set that tone, both teams are moving a little more quickly than they might in a typical game, a typical Mid-Illini Conference game. So trying to adjust on the fly to this different style, moving very quickly. See if after the mass timeout both these teams settle down a little bit more. But I got to say, it has been entertaining. A lot of action, a lot of things going both ways.
Metamora has the ball out of the mass timeout. Kaiser for three, didn't fall. And the rebound corralled by Jack Knapp. I want to go back to that last dead ball that brought us to the masked timeout as Jack Knapp lays in the two. Cameron Mabels needs a shout out because he got into the passing lane and cut off a pass to Ethan Kaiser that probably would have ended in a dunk. Got in there and made things difficult, forced a dead ball and essentially a timeout. And as we have a timeout called now on the floor, that's a play that probably deserves a little recognition.
It certainly does. Kaiser has been tormenting a lot of teams in this area with his, great ability, to dunk the ball, to make athletic plays for, 3 years now. So obviously that's got to be an emphasis. Don't let Kaiser get those easy open looks. If nothing else, make them contested, and did a nice job there. Cut the passing lane off, but we get a timeout here from Danny Greaves as his team's up 6. But it's been Raiders recently. I think they've had 10 points in this quarter, trying to upstart the offense a little more, done a nice job. So settle his team down, try to have a strong last 3-10.
Redbirds started the second quarter off with a bang. Ethan Kaiser knocked in a 3 that increased their lead to 12, but since then the Raiders have fought back. Great hustle on the home side. It stands at a 6-point game. Foul called, the 9th of the game on the Raiders, and the 3rd of the game on Cameron Mabels.
That's really tough. He's made some big plays, as you alluded to earlier. He had some nice plays on defense. He's got a couple of points. You don't want to give Metamora any open free throws, any good opportunities at the stripe. They're a team that will make a lot of their opportunities. They're not going to squander that too often.
Certainly won't. A very disciplined squad. Fouls 9-7, as we mentioned, and the second free throw from Tucker falls through. Back to an 8-point game. It's been the most even stretch we've seen so far. Raiders inbound. Reinders double teamed. Kaiser there for the steal. He gets it to Schroeder. Throws the alley-oop to Kaiser, who finishes with 2 hands.
There's those opportunities you can't give Ethan Kaiser, because he will take advantage. He will put a dunk in your gym.
He is a high flyer. Stands at 6'6". His distinctive feature, that long hair. You always want to answer a dunk with a three-pointer, is what the old saying goes. Raiders can't do that there, and Schroeder gets fouled and will go to the line.
Definitely frustrating after that last timeout by Metamora. And I believe we might have had a technical foul, if I'm not mistaken.
We'll see what we see. The foul assessed to Jack Du Bois, and I'm with you, Gavin. I think I saw that referee throw up the T sign at the scorer's table. It was initially defense from, well, hold on. I thought I saw Jack Du Bois' number signaled to the scorer's table. The foul on the scoreboard is assessed to A.J. Reinders.
I do believe that's correct. He was the one guarding him on that drive. Perhaps a technical foul on Du Bois, though. A little frustration in the last few possessions, really 30 seconds for the Raiders.
Just a moment ago, it was a 6-point game, 15 for East Peoria, 21 for Metamora. The Redbirds, pardon me, on a 7-0 run. And this is a big swing if Schroeder can knock down all 4, and he does.
If I'm not mistaken, that all came at the free throw line. They really took, maybe they had one bucket from that dunk from Kaiser. Yeah. How can I forget that? That's hard to forget, but either way, they've had a lot of their points come from the cherry stripe, taking good advantage.
And this could be a 7-point swing if they cap it with a 3. Tucker wants it, doesn't have it. And now East Peoria can get back to work on offense. But Gavin, I see where you would draw that conclusion of all those points coming at the free throw line, because free throws have been such a big storyline thus far. 17 combined fouls, 10 and 7, and a 2 there for Nick Tornow.
They're trying to get to their bread and butter, with Tornow getting in there. Shoots a lot from the paint, not a lot from the perimeter. Got to string together some stops and not foul.
It's going to be interesting to see how both these coaches play their lineups in the second half. More on that in just a minute. Nick Tornow drives off the rim, kept alive by Du Bois. High pass brought in by Tornow. Tornow for 2, doesn't have it, and Gavin, Metamora is not giving East Peoria anything easy right now. 3 didn't go from Jones, another offensive rebound. Should say they're giving him a lot of offensive rebounds, but when it comes to shot selection, East Peoria's had to settle quite a bit. Down low, Knapp can't quite drop it through. Tornow the rebound. He can't get that one to go off the glass, and finally it falls to Metamora.
Unlucky bounces. They had about 5 shots at that right there. A lot of offensive boards, though.
Almost too many to count. We'll see if East Peoria can drive the dagger in. Tucker lost it. He'll get it back. Not the dagger in the big picture of the game, but maybe going into the halftime locker room. That would be a lot of momentum for Metamora. Flipped up to Schroeder. Jones nearly forced the steal. Also there is Jack Brooks. First time we've called his name tonight. And East Peoria forces a turnover. Anytime it seems, Gavin, sorry to cut you off, but anytime it seems like Metamora is starting to pull away, East Peoria has enough left in the tank to get it to 8 points, 6 points we've seen as well.
They like to hang around. You know, they're not going to make life easy. They're not going to let you just pull away for a big victory. See if they have enough gas to come back, though, as Metamora has a lot of momentum at the moment. Big possession here to end out the first half.
Austin Jones flips it to Brooks, and Brooks gives to Jack Du Bois. 10 seconds left in the first half. Driving was Du Bois, but another offensive rebound brought in by Tornow. Going over Kaiser, no. Third chance wouldn't have counted, but Jack Knapp couldn't hoist it up in time, and that's how the first half ends. 29-17, favoring Metamora. We saw a lot of back and forth in that first half, and ultimately, it was the Redbirds escaping the first 2 quarters with a 12-point advantage.
There was a lot of back and forth. Again, Metamora Redbirds started out this game really well. They played a very good first quarter, especially defensively. East Peoria came out better offensively, but then kind of, let up the gas on the defense. But a lot of fouls, a lot of points coming at the cherry stripe. Metamora doing an excellent job at taking advantage. I don't think they've missed one all night. And that was helped cap off a big 8-0 run to help them cement this lead. So we'll see what adjustments both of these teams can make, but certainly going to be interesting going forward.
Excited to see how the second half plays out. We will recap the first half for you and get you ready for the last 2 quarters when we come back on ClutchSportsIL.com. At the half, Metamora leads East Peoria 29-17. Welcome back to East Peoria Community High School, where Clutch Sports Media is live for a Tuesday night presentation of Mid-Illini Conference basketball before the storm, as the Central Illinois region about ready to get blasted by one of the biggest winter storms to roll through the area in a decade is what they're saying. And anecdotally that checks out, because I don't recall having a forecast for 10 to 15 inches of snow in the last 10 years, certainly since I've lived in Illinois. So good to be with you on a Tuesday night right before everything comes into play. Joey Wright with Gavin Russell and the rest of our team, John Michael, Rodrigo Perez, and Larry Larson. Gavin, as we get back to the action, East Peoria's first possession playing out right now. What are your takeaways from the Raiders' first half?
They just made too many little mistakes and let Metamora capitalize on them. You know, things like can't turn the ball over. Right there, you know, you got to get good possessions. You can't give Metamora any easy opportunities. They will make you pay, and they did in the first half.
Schroeder drives, doesn't have a chance to score on Metamora's first possession, and immediately the first foul of the third quarter called, and that'll be against Metamora. Metamora with, I believe they finished with 7 team fouls in that first half, but also drew plenty of fouls, got into the double bonus by the time the first half was said and done, Gavin, and they finished the first half a perfect 13 of 13 at the free throw line, nearly half their points coming at the charity stripe.
That makes a big difference, especially the fact that they were making them. You know, we've seen teams struggle at the line, Metamora earning all of their points.
Drew Tucker leading the charge. 6 of 6 at the free throw line is Tucker, and he has 14 points total tonight. Also 6 of 6 at the free throw line is Zach Schroeder. And our first free throws of the second half will come not from Metamora, but from East Peoria. At the line, Jack Knapp, who knocks in the first.
That's going to be big for East Peoria, too. You know, they didn't shoot quite as many free throws. They missed a couple, which, you know, you can live with, but you got to take all the opportunities you can get.
Knapp 2 of 2 at the line, 10-point game again. If you're just joining us, that halftime score was 29-17, and it tied Metamora's largest lead tonight. 12 points on 2 occasions, the other coming early in the second quarter. East Peoria has kept this a ball game. They've not given up. Great hustle, great fight on that East Peoria bench. But they have not whittled the lead to less than 6 points since the first quarter. Out of bounds. It'll stay with Metamora.
A couple of fouls early on Metamora, of course. That's a big storyline in this game, but a lot more contact I have noticed personally to start out the second half that has not gotten called, so letting them play a little bit more. The calls have been a little streaky, though.
And coming consistently now, as that's going to be our third called foul, I believe, of the third quarter alone. Just north of a minute into the third quarter. First of the half on East Peoria, 2 on Metamora. Inbound to Jake Nealon. He gets it out to Schroeder. Zach Schroeder spins and scores. Zach Schroeder, that's his first field goal tonight, was 6 of 6 at the free throw line, but did not make a basket from the field until just moments ago.
Well, you get points any way you can. They all count the same.
8 points now for Schroeder, and by the way, East Peoria's leading first half scorer was Nick Tornow, had 4 points. Raiders have spread the wealth, 3 on the way, just off the mark from Jack Du Bois. And East Peoria, Gavin, has attempted a couple of threes, but they have not converted on a 3-point field goal yet tonight.
Neither team has really gotten it going from 3. I think Metamora maybe hit 1. The game's largely been inside, and you know, Metamora coming out very strong on the inside. Timeout here by East Peoria, and I think definitely well-deserved. Got to get reined in. You don't want to let this game get too far out of hand.
John Gersnich wants a minute to talk things over with his team. He'll get exactly a minute to do that. It is a full timeout. With 6:01 left in the third quarter, Joey Wright and Gavin Russell in with you tonight on ClutchSportsIL.com. The rest of our crew, Larry Larson on the baseline right now, snapping some flicks. Camera operator up top, giving you the images you see right now at home is Rodrigo Perez, and Jonathan Michael Just off to our left is our ace computer operator, producer, John Michael, doing a nice job queuing up the graphics, keeping the score updated for you at home. 6:01 left in the third quarter. This is Metamora's largest lead tonight, 14 points. Never a good sign, Gavin, when you want to burn a full timeout 2 minutes into a quarter, especially the third quarter coming out of the halftime break.
Yeah, this is just how East Peoria's played all game, though. You know, it's been kind of up and down for them. You know, that's kind of how their season has gone. You know, they've had some games where they come out really strong. They've had quarters where they come out really strong and then kind of let up a little bit. So see if they get refocused after the timeout. Not a good start there, though.
Schroeder with the steal and score. Zach Schroeder now with 12 points. And he has all of Metamora's points, 6 of them to be exact in the third quarter. Here's Sol Chown for East Peoria. And the Raiders still looking for consistency tonight, and as you alluded to, Gavin, over the course of the season as a whole, they come into this one having lost 4 of their last 5. But before that, they enjoyed a 3-game winning streak. 12-9, so you take out, take out the last 5 games. It's 11 wins that they came into that stretch. What, 11? I've put myself in a position to do some quick math, and I'm going to fail. I'm not going to go to my calculator app, but before that last skid, they would have been 11-5. Yes.
Yep.
Wow.
That's all right.
In a 3-game winning streak to get to 11-5 from 8-5, as Metamora continues to answer back 37-19.
And we can see how they can put it on in a hustle. A lot of points coming out quickly.
Sol Chown for 3, knocks it in, and that's East Peoria's first basket of the second half and their first made 3, and it's back to 15.
Felt like you had to have that. I mean, again, it's pretty big deficit right now. We've seen them get down double digits, cut it to 5 or 6, but you got to do it sooner than later.
Down low and turning it in off the glass is Swanson.
They're really protecting the perimeter on defense. Looks like it is East Peoria, but Metamora is really capitalizing inside.
Cameron Mabels for 3, a little short. And Metamora, no 3s here in the third quarter so far, but it's been almost single-handedly Zach Schroeder. And Schroeder, a guy, Gavin, that just has East Peoria's number. It's not the first time we've mentioned this, but 22 points and 6 rebounds to his name on Friday night in Metamora's 55-54 win in this same matchup in Metamora.
He's a really impressive player. He's a key senior leader. Just does a lot for the Redbirds and very versatile guard. He's a great player to have on your team.
Nice drive from Drew Tucker and a nice finish. Lead back to 19 points. Or up to 19 points, I should say, for the first time tonight. East Peoria gets out and runs in transition, and a timely response from Jack Knapp.
They've had a few possessions where they've broken that press, but Metamora really has their number with the press. Metamora's just doing a lot right in this second half, cementing a big lead at the moment.
Kicked out to Tyson Swanson. Swanson crosses over to Drew Tucker, and Tucker banks in the deep 2.
I'm not sure that Metamora has missed from the field maybe only once. They are just making just about everything that they're taking from the floor.
Chown with a nice drive, gets blocked by Schroeder, and Kaiser came down with it. Yes, he did come down with it, and East Peoria will maintain possession.
I think it's the mass timeout, which if you're Metamora, you love the response at the halfway point. Came out of the locker room with a fire. East Peoria, not so much.
East Peoria with work to do, down 19 points, 43-24. Take a quick break and come back after this word from Uftring.
It's Uftring's Traction for All sales event with new SUVs and trucks in stock and inbound with 4-wheel and all-wheel drive. For better winter traction, take immediate action. Reduce the slide in your ride during the Traction for All sales event at every Uftring Auto Group dealer.
Longtime Metamora head coach Danny Greaves leading what has to be a pretty happy Metamora huddle right now. They have taken a 12-point halftime lead and added 7 points to it, 43-24. Metamora over East Peoria. And Gavin, the Redbirds came out of the locker room and started swinging. They've been doing everything right the last few minutes.
Yeah, a lot of their shots are going in. Interesting, I don't know if it's a game plan thing or if Metamora is just getting around and creating open looks, but they have gotten a lot of open looks in the paint, kind of driving layups, and they're not missing them. Again, they're very disciplined. They're a very consistent team. They had a pull-up from the mid-range and a couple of free throws. The ball's going in the hoop right now. They can't seem to miss. Everything just is going right for the Redbirds. There's some game left, but they got to keep their foot on the gas pedal.
Just about 11 minutes left in this one. East Peoria tonight has shown resiliency. There's a three from Nos Jackson that doesn't fall.
That's the shot that they wanted, though. I mean, they've had a few of those just rimming out. I mean, you get as close as possible, but no dice.
East Peoria with a big steal there from Jackson. Jackson drives, goes all the way to the rack, and draws contact. And that should be on the shot, and that should send Jackson to the line for two.
Jackson, one of those players, I think if you didn't know he was a freshman, you might think he was maybe a junior or something. He plays with a lot of poise. Just, noticing tonight some of those early freshman rookie mistakes, again, is something that we'll continue to point out, but has a lot of ambition. He's a guy that can take it to you, has no fear. Is trying to step up big for the Raiders.
Second free throw does not fall from Jackson, but a fearless player, and they will need that indeed as we move down the stretch of this ball game. And Gavin, we've seen East Peoria a little more aggressive in its shot selection. They're taking more threes than they were, and they're driving to the rack. Maybe lower percentage shots, but they just need to get those falling, even if they are maybe a little lower percentage.
Well, you need all the points you can get, and threes, nice job to get you back in it.
Down low off the glass, not quite for Kaiser Quick, but he's able to follow his shot. I believe he got that rebound, and it's Quick again. Quick down low to Swanson, and Tyson Swanson turns around and drops it down, and the Metamora lead is up to 20 points.
They just can't seem to miss. Got the offensive board there. Metamora, very, very good spot right now.
Largest lead of the night. Ball fake there from Chown. Chown drives. Didn't catch the rim on that. Kaiser's able to bring it ahead.
Just feels like East Peoria doesn't really have a spark right now. A lot of the momentum on Metamora's side. Well earned though. They're playing real tough.
East Peoria, or I should say Metamora, is as fundamentally sound a team as there is in the Mid-Illini Conference.
They're a really tough team, to beat and to play them, just a few days apart. You knew they were going to come out better than they were on Friday, taking advantage of an inexperienced, still learning East Peoria squad, really kind of going downhill for the Raiders.
Nice basket for Tyson Swanson and a turnover. Kaiser tried to go up for it. Schroeder looked like he was going to throw it towards Kaiser, but had to take a little off, and maybe not quite by accident, but maybe not what he was intending to do, was able to find the two-pointer.
And East Peoria is all sorts of out of sync right now. They're turning the ball over, not getting the shots they want, although that's a nice look and a three, but you can tell they're kind of out of sync. Not everybody's on the same page, and that's kind of what happens when you get down big.
That three from Chown was the first break the Raiders have caught in a minute. Redbirds could put a seal on the third quarter here. We'll see if they hold for the final shot. Tyson Swanson spins, kicks it out to Drew Tucker. Tucker drives, loses it. Schroeder picks it up, and I don't think that shot would have counted even if he had dropped it in. I think Metamora wanted a foul called there, didn't get it, and that's how the third quarter ends. 21-point lead for the Redbirds. We will keep it right here. We'll keep it right here for the time being. Jonathan Michael, our producer, Rodrigo Perez, our camera operator, Larry Larson, photography this evening. Alongside Gavin Russell, I am Joey Wright. And this is the point of the game, Gavin, where everything kind of shifts. You never want to call a game over until it's over, and we've seen some great comebacks in the Mid-Illini Conference this season, but you've got to figure if Metamora's, able to kind of shift this, play a little more conservatively, as long as they don't take themselves out of the game, they're in really good shape.
They are in good shape. It wouldn't surprise me if the deficit was a little closer than, the 21-point margin it is at the moment, but at the end of the day, Metamora is in a really good position. They are controlling this game pretty handedly at the moment, but I noticed in the final couple of minutes in the third period, they weren't rushing anything, passing the ball around a lot, trying to take some time off the clock, and I'd imagine they'd be doing much of the same here in the fourth quarter, unless barring East Peoria making a all-time comeback. Don't expect it to happen, but again, I like to say, even in the games that aren't super close, try to find some positives to take away into your next game, potentially a next meeting, which would be in playoff time.
Well, that's an excellent point, Gavin. And the Mid-Illini Conference is so tough. Ethan Kaiser proves why there. Nice drive to the basket and finish. And East Peoria caught Metamora at precisely the wrong time for their two meetings, because since losing 43-39 at Washington on the 14th of January, the Redbirds have not lost. They've rattled off 6 wins in a row against Oak Park on the 17th of January, then Canton, Lindblom, Bradley Bourbonnais, all in order. Friday night against East Peoria, and Saturday, that 60-48 win at Manual in the nightcap of Manual's tournament. Good win against a good Manual team. And even if you include that Washington loss, they beat Pekin a few days before that. So 7-1 in their last 8 games. And they've only lost consecutive games on 2 occasions this season, at the Tournament of Champions in Washington that started the year off, and then against East St. Louis and Warrensville Wheaton at the State Farm Holiday Classic in late January.
Boy, Metamora is just, they can't miss. They seem to make just about every shot that they take, really exploiting the inside of an East Peoria defense.
East Peoria is able to respond. And that was Nos Jackson, on the basket. Big one for East Peoria. Maybe not in the context of the overall final score, but you want to keep executing, as you alluded to. And the stretch run for East Peoria, pretty favorable. They are at Canton on Friday, the 4th of February, this Friday. Weather pending there, but should everything hold up, they'll play over at the Alice Ingersoll Gym on Friday night. And then 2 against Limestone in quick succession. They'll host Pekin, a non-conference battle against a really good Lincoln team, but then they'll host Dunlap. 5 of their last 6 games coming in Mid-Illini Conference play.
This is the last game. I mean, among I would say the top 3 teams in the Mid-Illini Conference, this is the final meeting. They've already met with Washington and Morton both twice, and this is the second meeting with Metamora. So, they faced all of the really, really good teams. They're not going to beat any of them, but they played in some close battles. They had some games they didn't do so well. Just about taking positives away. It's hard to do sometimes. Not always, kind of looks grim, but got to look on the horizon. You got to be able to look at the positives, and if nothing else, try to finish out this game strong. Metamora, though, they're going to be taking a lot of fire out of this game. And as you mentioned a few minutes ago, they are on a big roll right now. They're just on fire as a team.
7-1 in their last 8 games, if you're just joining us, are the Metamora Redbirds. This timeout, a 30-second timeout. And that's another great point, Gavin. Rome was not built in a day. You mentioned at the top of the show how young East Peoria is. Nos Jackson, who we've called a lot tonight, is a freshman. Sol Chown, a junior. A.J. Reinders, who was in the starting lineup tonight, a sophomore. Cameron Maples has been a big part of the offense. He's a junior. You do have 2 seniors in Nick Tornow and Austin Jones, who are a big part of the offense, but a lot of emerging pieces of the East Peoria offense are going to be a big part of this program for the next 1 to 3 years, depending on who you're talking about. And some new faces on the floor for Metamora. Luke Hopp has it, and he gets it back to Tyler Mason. Mason still working his way back into the Redbird lineup tonight. Hopp for three, and he knocked it down. And Luke Hopp, in off the bench, makes an impact.
Trying to defend that inside, and Metamora extends the range a little bit and continues that trend. They really just can't miss.
Foul called there as Jackson tried to drive. Another fresh face in for Metamora is Matthew Zobrist. And Luke DeFrance, senior for the Redbirds, is in as well. DeFrance, a nice piece off the bench for the Redbirds this season. Redbirds driving. Here's Hopp. Nice pass back to Mason. What a sequence. Tyler Mason the finish, but Luke Hopp deserves some credit for that assist.
Nice sequence right there. Great passing. Letting the B unit kind of come in and run their thing. Doing an excellent job.
Good defense from Zobrist. Pass wound up finding Jackson in East Peoria. Resiliency to stay with that possession. Won't go their way. DeFrance crosses the timeline. Deep three from Tucker. Off the back attachment. And a foul called there on DeFrance.
One of the lone missed shots. It just seems like they've been making a lot, but if you're up with a big lead right now, chance to continue to tack on more, and you know in a rivalry game like this, you would love to continue to pour it on, really kind of flex your dominance on the opposing team's floor. Metamora not showing any signs of slowing down.
5 minutes to play in the fourth quarter, and whenever these two teams get together, it is a lot of fun to watch. We've seen Metamora and East Peoria do battle a couple of times on our airwaves. You go back to Clutch Sports Media's first year, the 2019-20 school year. Saw the East Peoria Raiders football team travel to Malone Field. Covered that one in week 3. That was a big win for the Redbirds. And the Redbirds again got it done against East Peoria that season on the hardwood in a game we covered. I want to say that was December 10th, 2019. Landon Ivins leading those Metamora Redbirds past the East Peoria Raiders. And then it was a little bit before we saw these teams play again, but we did see them play softball last year. East Peoria softball, a terrific program, and Metamora's program enjoying a lot of success in recent years as well. Don't remember the final score of that one. I know it was at Metamora's field. I think you were out. Were you out there?
I was. Yeah. I'm thinking 5-3,
yep.
But I'm not sure if that's correct. I mean, I believe East Peoria won that game, if I'm not mistaken. But I know it was close. I think we saw a couple of home runs in that game, so that was some good action. Maybe we'll get to see some more from the Diamond this year from these two schools.
Certainly would hope so. Metamora has a terrific softball field, and East Peoria plays over at the Eastside Center, if I have that correct.
They do. I actually work up the Eastside Center, so definitely in two nice facilities. And, you know, Mid-Illini Conference has a lot of great facilities, gymnasiums, fields, whatever you have for whatever sport. But, yeah, a lot of great facilities through these Mid-Illini programs.
Talk a little more about our favorite venues in the conference. On the other side of this break, we'll take a quick break for this word from Uftring.
Upgrade to four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive during Uftring's Traction for All sales event with new SUVs and trucks in stock and inbound, plus fresh trades and pre-owned for every budget. Reduce the slide in your ride during the Traction for All sales event at every Uftring Auto Group dealer.
Welcome back to East Peoria. Metamora 62, East Peoria 32. Last 4 minutes are upon us. Gavin, on the other side of that break, which wasn't that long ago, it's only a 15-second spot, we were talking about our favorite venues in the Mid-Illini Conference. This is our first time doing a video broadcast at this gym here at East Peoria, but it is a wonderful gym. I've got to say, this court design, one of my favorites in the conference. It's simple, not too flashy, but it just works. You know, the darker tone inside the perimeter, the darker tone in the jump ball circle. It really is quite nice to look at, very visually appealing.
It is an older gym. I believe it was built somewhere around the 1970s. But they've made some, you know, slow and steady, made some upgrades to it. I know the floor is a newer addition, but I'm a big fan, and I know for our scoreboard camera, I like the overhead scoreboard. Not sure if you can get a look at that or not. Probably not focusing on the action, but a little overhead scoreboard there.
An overhead scoreboard's always a nice touch, and I believe the only other center-hung board in the Mid-Illini Conference is over at Pekin's Dottie Hawkins Gymnasium. Older gym, as you mentioned, Gavin, but it is incredible what a fresh coat of paint can do, because these walls, nice, crisp, and white, and the floor works with them. It's nice and bright in here, and I think that's the best quality you can have in a gym.
Well, several years ago, these walls saw some excellent basketball. Luke DeFrance hits a three, but you know, back in the 1990s, there were some great East Peoria teams. Not so much in recent years, but they're obviously trying to get on the uptrend and, you know, kind of turn things around. You know, slowly but surely getting there. But yeah, no, good gymnasium. There's a lot of great facilities in Mid-Illini Conference, and definitely hold standard here in East Peoria.
Anytime you catch a Mid-Illini Conference game, whether these two teams are involved or it's Washington, Limestone, Pekin, Canton, Dunlap, or Morton, you know, you've got a good place to watch the action at. Foul called there. And we have reached running clock status, 2:30 and ticking here in the fourth quarter. Mentioned those good East Peoria teams in the 1990s, but the Raiders have, I will say, a good core, and this one's not going their way tonight. If this is the first East Peoria game you've seen this year, that might distort your perception just a little bit, because they came into this one 12-9. They'll fall to 12-10 and 2-7 in the Mid-Illini Conference, but they have shown flashes this year, Gavin, and they've competed against everyone they've played. Young team, still kind of finding its way, but if I'm an East Peoria fan, I've got to feel pretty good about the direction this program's headed.
Well, yeah, it is certainly misleading. I've seen them play in some close battles. I've seen them win a few games, and it's, you know, you might be thinking, you know, this team played close with Metamora the other night. It just kind of when it rains, it pours. You know, they got out of sync, let Metamora take advantage. As you can see, Metamora is making just about everything. You know, just kind of going the Redbirds' way tonight. Again, Metamora is a very good team. You know, they're certainly earning it out here tonight. But East Peoria, you know, they've just got to get some consistency, kind of build around this young core. You never know, but again, Metamora just a excellent program in the Mid-Illini Conference, and you know, you can see that right here tonight.
Mentioned earlier that the Redbirds entered this one 7-1 in their last 8 games. East Peoria had a 7-1 stretch from December 27th through January 14th. That started with a win against Delavan and went through a win against Pekin. East Moline snapping that streak with a 3-point loss on the 15th of January, so they very nearly kept that going. But tonight will belong to Metamora as the Redbirds continue to run through their offense with some newer faces. Rebound there brought in, and Gavin, that's where we're at. Metamora looks like has brought some guys up from the JV program. No numbers for some of these players on the floor on our roster. Metamora, a deep program, and they are stocked for the next couple years. 2 falls for Jack Du Bois. 30 seconds left in the game. It's been all Redbirds in the second half. They entered the second half up 12 and kept going. Jack Du Bois drives and scores. And we'll see what Metamora likes to do on this final possession. They will host Limestone on Friday, and they will travel to Dunlap on Saturday, and then a couple tough games to end the season for Metamora. At Normal West, at home against Washington and Morton, and then at Chillicothe, Illinois Valley Central. And they go into that stretch with a 69-40 win over East Peoria tonight. That's your final score. The Redbirds cranked it up, found that second gear in the second half, and they win it by almost 30 points.
this game wasn't too far out of reach at halftime, in the first half, but that's just kind of the tale of how East Peoria's gone this year. Nothing against them. They're a team that's growing. Don't want to talk bad about them, but they've just run out of gas at certain points. They let teams get on a roll. They lose that fire, and I think you have to have that to win, especially in a talented Mid-Illini Conference. You got to play a complete 4 quarters, and unfortunately couldn't do that tonight for them. But as for Metamora, they did a heck of a job tonight. They were making a lot of their shots. I think this shows when they are on their game and they're playing their best ball, which they do about this time of year, they're going to play with anybody and they're going to beat anybody that they play with. So it's going to be interesting to see how they match up with some of these tough games going down the stretch. And, of course, playoff time, all eyes will be on the Redbirds to see if they can advance to the IHSA playoffs.
You don't want to run into a Danny Greaves-coached Metamora team on the other side of February 1st, and they start the month of February with a 69-40 win over East Peoria tonight. That's the 7th win in a row for Metamora. Now 19-6 on the campaign and 9-1 in the Mid-Illini Conference. And that about wraps things up for us from East Peoria High School tonight. Gavin, any final thoughts?
Yeah, it was just, a tough game for East Peoria. Again, might distort your view of them if it's the first time you've seen them this year, but they're a team that I think their best days are ahead of them. I think that especially coming in the next couple of years, you might get a little more recognition. This year, it's more about growing, seeing if they can pull off some big wins down the stretch. Just a tough game. Metamora, though, they're playing their best ball. Watch out.
Going to be a fun ride through the end of the season. Metamora, a 29-point winner tonight. And the final thing on our broadcast tonight, folks, stay safe out there this week. A lot of snow expected in central Illinois and beyond over the next few days. The snow outside of East Peoria High School kind of starting up right now, I think, is when they forecasted it to start. So if you must drive, be safe. If you're going to order food, maybe you don't want to drive, be sure to tip your delivery drivers well, because they absolutely earn it in this kind of weather.
Don't forget about the ragweed pollen,
that's
Joey.
Right. Well, and I was looking at the AccuWeather forecast. Luckily, ragweed pollen is low, so if you have that allergy, I don't think that's what you're going to be concerned about over the next few days. And good, that shouldn't stop you from getting out once the snow stops Thursday, Friday. Go sledding, build a snowman, make a snow angel, have some fun out there. First time in quite a while we've gotten this much snow. But that will do it for our coverage from East Peoria High School tonight. 69-40 Metamora, your final score. For our entire crew, Rodrigo Perez, Jonathan Michael, Larry Larson, and Gavin Russell, I'm Joey Wright. Thank you for watching this presentation of Clutch Sports Media, and stay safe out there this week.